Good evening. The time is 6 o'clock, and this is Monday, January the 8th, 2024. I'm calling this meeting of the Lewis County Board of Education to order, and we are in the administration building. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Kraft to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item of business this evening is action and discussion related to the appointment of filling the unexpired term of the vacant board member seat in accordance with West Virginia Code 1852 to be effective for the remainder of the term expiring June 30th, 2024. Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
All right.
I'll second it.
All right. Discussion. We are simply going to appoint someone. Is that as I understand it?
Yes.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next item of business is to appoint a new board member of education member to replace Kenneth Lowther, term to expire June 30th, 2024.
I'd like to make a motion, and may I say who
Yes.
Johnny White. I'll second that.
All right, Adam has moved, Dave has seconded that we appoint Johnny White to fill the term of that, replacing Kenneth Lowther. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. And Dr. Stewart will deal with getting him sworn in, those types of things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have any agenda adjustments this evening?
We do not, Madam President.
All right. And I will turn it over to you for our personnel achievement and recognition.
All right, we wanted to recognize Mr. Sam Kraft this evening. So, Mr. Kraft, if you would come up and meet me here in the front. We have a certificate that states that this certificate is given in appreciation of going over and beyond to ensure the safety of the students of Lewis County Schools. Recently, we had students from Roanoke Elementary School go to Stonewall for the Christmas giveaway. And while ice skating, one of our students fell and hurt his arm. At that point, they went to the medical kit at Stonewall and did not have a splint. So Mr. Kraft, on site with his bus, runs back to the bus, finds a splint on the bus, brings it back, stomps it out so that it's good and flat and straight, and helps to make sure that this child got the proper medical care that he needed. And then the next day, Mr. Kraft reached out to the school, he doesn't know that I know that, to check on the student to see how he did. So we want to recognize you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 6, we do not have any student discipline this evening. Academics.
We are finishing up the first semester, and we are beginning the benchmarking for middle of the year. So once that's completed, I'll be bringing that data to share with you all as well.
All right. We had no delegations. We have approved minutes from the following board meeting: December the 11th, 2023, a regular meeting, and December 18th, 2023, a regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Mike has moved, Adam has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have our consent agenda. Out-of-state meeting request for Cheryl, I'm sorry, I always mess this name up. Cheryl Raming, Deborah Gump, Deborah Wyman, and Jennifer Eiler at the Kagan Cooperative Learning 4-Day Institute, January 11th through the 15th, 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee. and that's pages 14 through 18 in our packet. And also, we have an exception to the attendance policy for student LD, which is pages 19 through 21 in our packet. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Dave has moved, Adam has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have to approve the payroll and payment of bills in the amount of $2,513,349.82. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Dave has moved,
Second.
second by Mike. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have our personnel agenda.
Okay, on the superintendent's recommendations, please accept the following resignations and retirements. 1A, Jimmy Sprouse, resignation, bus operator, Lewis County Schools, effective December 20, 2023. B, Beverly Butcher, resignation as servants competency testing coordinator, effective January 31, 2024.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion.
Adam has moved, second.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0.
2, please consider and approve the following requests. A, Dave Parks, approve as non-paid track coach, Lewis County High School, effective for the 23-24 school year.
Make a motion.
Mike has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Adam. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0.
3, please employ the following professional personnel. B, Brian Fisher, mathematics teacher, Lewis County High School, effective January 10, 2024. H, Tina Bly, substitute teacher, effective January 10, 2024, pending certification. Rachel Allman, Deborah Klein, Brandon Hedrick, Stephen Scholl, William Shear, effective January 10, 2024, pending background check. Jillian Chenoweth Ferguson, effective January 10, 2024, pending background check and certification. J. Bobby Bell, grade 2 classroom teacher, Roanoke Elementary School, effective January 16, 2024, pending background check.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Mike has moved. Adam has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0.
4, please employ the following service personnel. A, Eddie Ellis, day-to-day substitute custodial maintenance, Lewis County Schools, effective January 10, 2024, pending background check. F, Natasha Clem, Success Act ECAT aide, Jane Little Elementary School, effective January 24, 2024. I, Candace Hawkins, cafeteria manager / cook, Lewis County High School, effective January 10, 2024. And J, Kristen Ellis, custodial maintenance, Robert Glenn Middle School, effective January 10, 2024.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion. Second.
Mike has moved. Dave has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0.
5, please employ the following professional extracurricular personnel. D, Julie Oldacre, social studies fair coordinator, Lewis County Schools, effective for the 23-24 school year. J, Kimberly Smith, Title I school-wide project facilitator, Jane Little Elementary School, effective for the 23-24 school year.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Dave has moved. Adam has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0.
We have approved the parent volunteers of community volunteers, Jane Little Elementary School, Christy Hall, Andrew Taylor, Mary Turner. Lady Creek Elementary School, Andrew Taylor. Lewis County High School, Christy Hall, Andrew Taylor, Mary Turner. Peterson Central Elementary School, Andrew Taylor. Roanoke Elementary School, Andrew Taylor. Robert Glenn Middle School, Andrew Taylor.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Adam has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have facilities and construction update.
Just have a brief update. We were able to look at some portable heaters from a company in Harrison County, for the Lewis County High School Gymnasium. I don't know if you've been in there when they've been on, but it does warm the gym up pretty quickly. We rented 2 of them. I think in total, they're a little over 1 million BTUs when they're running at full speed. Of course, we run them at the highest temperature we can, with some safety precautions to try to keep people away from them because they do get warm to the touch. And we'll be taking bids on the window and door project for Roanoke Elementary School. The ad will go out in the paper Wednesday and also in the Charleston Gazette. And should be bringing that to you at the next board meeting to start that project.
Do we have any dates for the high school gym?
No, I'm still
Permanent
waiting on
fix.
quotes for the replacement. They're trying to determine if we can do rooftop units instead of the hanging units that are there now. They're hoping to be able to use the existing ductwork as well to save some money.
You said Harrison County, I believe, about
I did.
where you got them. Did anybody here in the county have it? Did Dawes have any?
For more than twice the amount,
Okay.
so I was saving money.
I've got one other question. I know you get hit with this question all the time.
It's all right. I answer the same questions all the time.
The lights at the high school, I know they're getting programmed, or I understood they're getting programmed.
They were taken to the gentleman, I believe he lives in Grafton or Taylor
Okay.
County somewhere.
Just didn't know if there'd been any.
I haven't
there.
heard that they've been returned.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you. Next, we have a child nutrition update. Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mhm. Thank you.
Good evening. I just want to start by saying that I appreciate your patience with me getting here. I thank you. Somebody had asked that talk to me, and I had a medical procedure in the next board meeting and then got left off the agenda. So I'm here, was not trying to avoid anyone. I just wanted to go over a few things what we're focusing on right now in child nutrition and the things that we're trying to focus on. We do have a review coming in February. So in a matter of weeks, we'll have the state people will be coming in to review us. And so I thought it would be good to share that with you all, a few other things. The salad bar at the high school, I kept saying, oh, will that salad bar ever get here? Well, that salad bar got here, kids love it. I can tell you, it's really increased participation at the high school. I've talked to many students, walked out there and been with them, and they're like, they just don't want it to go away. Now, they do wish that I could put lovely other things on the salad bar that I just can't always put on the salad bar. But they're still very happy to have those fresh items there for them. As I said, we're working on getting ready for the CM review. If you look at the paper that I gave you, the very first top thing is what I go out to the schools, and this is actually what the state would use, very similar to this form. It's called the School Nutrition Program Site Monitoring. So I've already been in all the schools, either breakfast or lunch, in some places both, and I'm required to monitor what we see happening at the schools. The best way to explain child nutrition and the complications actually are better taught through this form than anything I could possibly begin to tell you. If you take a look at it, you know we're CEP. You'll probably see up there in that, you know, one of the things you're supposed to check, are we CEP? Well, CEP means we are all free to everyone. If you notice, when it comes down here, it'll say today's menu. That needs to be always posted at every school. There's a reason why we do the menu, and what's on the menu is very specific. So when they come in and I come in, I want to see that the items that we menued are actually what's being served, because we're trying to match the meal pattern. We do have food safety inspections. We just had a couple the other day. They look pretty good. Now, I did talk to the new sanitarian, and she says they've hired a few people. So instead of us just having 2 every year, we'll be having 4, which I welcome that. Because you can't have too much of that. And we were really sparse with us getting them over COVID. We would just be, you know, they were behind all over the places because the sanitarians were busy doing many other things. We also, when I go into the schools, I have to make sure that there is signage at the school, and what that means is the kids need to know when they walk up to the lunchroom what it is that's on the menu, and it's to be posted every day. So I always go in and I look to see that the menu items are there for that day. If they need to make a change, they have to call and check that with me, because I'll get to that in a little bit later, but there are certain things that have to be on the menu, like red, orange vegetables, for instance. So if they can't have a red, orange vegetable that day, then I have to have them substitute for something. We've got to try to find something, whether it's carrots or something else, or we have to make up for it the next day, because some of this is looked at a week's time. So there's a lot of times there's reasons why the menu has to stay the way it stays, because one of the things is, the rules is that we have to serve legumes once in a week, okay? So that's beans of some sort. So we know that we have to have legumes in there once a week, no matter what. And when you do that, you try to make it the best way that you can use legumes that kids will eat them. This is just an example of what we struggle with at times.
May I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
What is proven to be the best way to get the legumes into the, particularly the
Well,
elementary?
At the elementary, sometimes we, like, let's say refried beans, which are that, I just had a cook jump all over me about this, but I was saying that in a lot of counties, they put refried beans in the chili, like even in hot dog chili or something to that effect. And if you have a certain amount of it, it will actually count as the beans in there. And I had a cook say to me, I'd be so mad at you if I ate beans and I didn't know that I ate beans. But those are some ideas. A lot of times, you will serve white beans if you have something like cornbread or something to that effect. We have baked beans a lot, because that's something that kids, they're used to eating those beans, so you try to do that. It's a hard one to get in every day,
But when you say baked beans, are we saying pork and beans out of a can, or are we saying baked beans?
oh no, we are definitely using canned beans. They don't soak the beans and do all of that.
No, no. What I mean is, you can open a can of pork and beans and put them on a plate. In my growing up, that was pork and beans. That was not baked beans. Baked beans, you add a little ketchup, you added a little brown sugar.
Well,
You made it tasty.
Well, and we'll get to that here in a minute.
Okay.
Now, we typically use the baked beans that come from one of our vendors. They do try to doctor anything. We are under the guise that we have to actually have a recipe for anything that has more than one ingredient. So let's say it was a can of beans, and the cooks decided that we want to add some brown sugar, or we want to add a little bit of something to it to make it better. We have to have a standardized recipe that goes with that says the amount of sugar, because what will happen is you have some people loading everything up to where they're as sweet as they can be, and we have to, that's what this is about, we have a whole calorie amount that we have to have, an average a week. And what happens is when you add ketchup, it's mostly sugar. So you are adding, to a vegetable, we're adding a lot of sugar. That's where some of that stuff gets complicated. And people don't like to hear me say, no, we just can't add 4 pounds of butter to all the green beans that we send out because of the sodium, because of everything. We'll get hammered. It's not my rules, but that's kind of what we have to, just feel free to ask me as we go through here. We have to make sure that every meal has all the milk components. And if you turn on through there, you'll see on back, it'll say what is the school breakfast components, what has to be in a school meal. And if you look at what has to be in a school meal, you will see that it's telling us specifically by grade level what amount of each item is needed in there per week. For instance, we know that every day we've got to have a fruit. You see where it says 5? That 5 means over the week, so every day there's got to be a fruit. Grains, it goes up through to 9 to 12. The problem that we have with grains, for instance, on breakfast, if you look at this, I know Janie and I were trying to work with the cooks to talk about what we could and couldn't do. So to give you an idea of the sodium requirement that we're talking about, so it's a good time to bring it up. If you look, in elementary school, we're trying to look at a lunch and how can we stay within the sodium requirements. And if you look at it, if you do a half of a sandwich, this is the amount that we're looking at. If we add chips, what that does to the sodium count. When we do breakfast, for instance, a milk and 1 biscuit is 15 grams of sodium under what we can do. Okay, so a milk and a biscuit, that's how much, because the sodium that's involved in some of those things. Now, these are the federal government requirements. I can tell you we're trying to work our way into them, but they are a difficult thing to maintain. And if you look there, there's the meat alternatives. And you can see at breakfast, we aren't even asked to do that. I try to put biscuits, some kind of gravy with some kind of sausage, but can you imagine what that does to our sodium count? And what they do is when they come and review, they actually look at our recipes and they want to know what we're putting in everything that we're making. And they actually look at your production records. That's why a lot of times, I know somebody here had a question about the Cuban sandwich. Well, the cooks all know. Now, they may not always tell that, and I gave them a hard time. I said, now, you know, you can put the mustard on the side with the Cuban. And they were all like, oh, yeah, I know that. I said, well, make sure you say that, and make sure you do that at your school if you don't want a kid that doesn't like the mustard, let's say. And there's certain things that we make that we tell them. If the elementary, they're not going to like it hot, leave that out. It's not going to hurt us because usually the spices are not something that I have a requirement to fulfill. But spices are about the only way to up the taste of food if you're taking away salt and trans fats. That's what you're looking at. And if you look at the maximum calories, now it's an average. You've got to have an average calories for high school, let's say 450 to 600, and that's for breakfast. That's kind of okay to do, but what really kills us is traditional country breakfasts have a lot of saturated fat and different things in them. And we cannot buy anything with trans fat in it at all. We can't have on our bid anything that includes trans fat. So, like I'm telling the cooks, you know, make sure you look through everything that you have, because the last school told me at the co-op that they went in their county and they found something, and you know, it was something the cooks had brought in because they wanted to flavor something up. Well, what they brought in had trans fats in it. Now, they didn't throw the child nutrition director out the window for that, but they were written up and told you must remove the trans fats from your kitchen. Okay, so that's where that comes into play. If you can look on, you'll see the school lunch program, and you can look at the amount of sodium, and that's what's killing us. That's what's really worrying me, is to try to figure out a way to maintain this within those federal requirements. And so if you look back at the school nutrition site monitoring review, The other thing they're really looking for is offer versus serve. And what is offer versus serve? People ask me this all the time, because kids will call me up and a mother will say, my child came home from school and they took a picture of their lunch tray and all they had on it was eggs, okay? Milk, and let's say certain things. If you understand the principle of offer versus serve, what you want to do and what we do here is after 3rd grade, we try to make all schools meals offer versus serve. That gives the child a chance to choose, so we don't throwing away everything the kids aren't eating. Now, I personally believe in you keep it served, which means everything on the menu goes on the tray for the little ones, because you're trying to get them to try it. You know, but in most places, 4th and 5th grade and on up, I want the kids to have a choice, because it's easier to shove them all through the line and load a tray up. But you need to give them that choice. So sometimes they choose a couple of items with their milk that makes a reimbursable meal. Now, that doesn't mean every time somebody comes through the line, they're going to have this tray loaded up with everything they could get. So I've had to explain to parents before, well, now there was this and this and this on the menu, and we actually threw some away at the end of the day. That's what the government asks, that we keep production records. So we've made X amount of mashed potatoes. Come the end of the day, we have to weigh out what we have and what would be tossed. You know, so a lot of times, and the cooks, and I've said this over and over again, I'm big about, if you have to bust open a whole thing, you don't let anybody go without having the same thing everybody else has. And you'll see if you really read through here, that is one of the things that the government looks for as well, that there's enough made for everyone. Now, what's really been good is, with the salad bar. I'm used to having a fresh fruit and vegetable bar at every school, all levels, right? If they don't like something that's on the menu, that always gave them an option for some extra things they might want to eat. That's why I truly believe in that. And the state pretty much says to you, if you have the ability to give them fresh items, there's not a whole lot of sodium going to be in a piece of broccoli. Now, if we give them 20 packs of ranch, what's going to happen? Understand? I try to be lenient when it comes to the ranch and those things going out, but when you're reviewed, they'll actually count the number of ranch packets that went out for the number of meals that we served. Because they're trying to do a nutrition count on what we did as well. We have to know that we're claiming for the right kids. We're lucky that in West Virginia we use the company called Primero. That's that scanning where the kids are scanned. What they look at is that our number of meals that we said we fixed, does that match the number of meals that we claimed? Because we get a certain amount of money for every meal that we claim. So what they're looking for is, are you serving them things that meet these requirements, those meal patterns, and how do you make that work? And it is a dance. And you could pull up my menu, you could pull up all the 55 counties you wanted, and you'll see we're all buying the same stuff from the same company, pretty much so. It's either Cisco or Gordon Food Service. And a lot of our menus look the same because we're all having to do this, and we have to have a certain amount of whole grain, not just white bread. So I've been trying to let they're making it 80% of all the grains that we serve have to be whole grain now. So what I can do is I can throw in a white pepperoni roll occasionally, and it's not going to blow us away. But I try to explain to the cooks, you know what, I can put that in and we can try to do that, but you got to help me. What happens when they take it away again? You know, we've just trained a whole society that white is not as healthy, right, as far as flour is concerned. But they really, my cook said, let's do it. I said, okay. I told them we can do that. And if you see that we are doing that. Now, I'm not buying a lot of white flour, because what I end up finding now is that we're using way more white flour than just for pepperoni rolls. And then I'm responsible to know how much of 80% are we using. And it gets laborious.
Ma'am, So let's go back to the menu situation. Do you feel as if that our menu that we have here, I'm not gonna say mirrors, but is very close to other counties in the state of West Virginia, or do you think ours differs a little bit?
Ours differs a little bit, because I did some of the stuff that Ohio County did. I brought in that lady who helped us, because, you know, it's just.
How does it differ, Cynthia?
How does it differ? We've been trying to add in our menu things like the Cuban, which everybody had a question about, which, by the way, is one of the sandwiches right underneath the pepperoni roll. Now, sometimes I have a problem because the people that fix the food may not appreciate the food. And what we did by bringing in that Chef Cindy, when we brought her in, we were trying to say there's a way to spice and to cook food that can be more exciting. When I say, like, each county might have a different way that they make their pepperoni roll, for instance, but we're all held to the same amount. It has to be only 80% throughout that whole week. When you, like right now, I know of 2 counties that are copying our menu, okay? I've got 2 counties copying ours. My menu originally came from a lady from the State Department when I had my first review. Her name was Claire, or it doesn't matter. But anyway, she worked with me as a dietitian and said, these are what you're looking at. And she also encouraged me to have homemade meals at least 3 times a week. Not something like heat up a pizza, okay? Because everybody wants to do what's quick and fast, you know? And that's a hard one, because I don't think you get the quality of food if everything's just going to be heated up. But what I say when I say we all pretty much do the same thing, we're all buying the same chicken from the same people, because our co-op, at least the Mountaineer Highlands Co-op, which is 20 counties, we have a set number of items on our bid. That's all we can purchase from. And it follows a certain amount of sodium. It follows the whole grain coatings on the outside. And there are some schools, I used to make a joke. One of my secretary in Upshur County said to me, my God, how did we do that? I grew up having macaroni cheese and pepperoni rolls at high school all the time. And then she was being a sub-secretary for me, and she's from over here, and she said, oh my God, there's no way in the world you can do that. Because she knew it blew the whole week all to pieces, and those kinds of things. So over the years, I've had to learn to tweak things, not take away everybody that loves macaroni and cheese, for instance. But it's just a red flag when they look at our menus. It's a huge red flag. And then I can't say that every county is honest about what they serve. They can put on there one thing, send something different to the government. I'm not going to do that. I think that the rules are very, very clear about what we can and cannot do to ask the government to pay for it. You know? And if we take that government money, then I have to, in good faith, I mean, I was asked to do lots of things in another county that were not kosher.
Sure.
And I didn't do it. And that's why I ended up over here.
So if we follow the nutritional guidelines, which we should have to, but let's just say that we poll our children.
We have been. We've been trying to.
I'm reading one right now, and I see where there are some things that they really like and some things they don't. And I do know that other counties, their menus are different. I pull a little bit of data from them, and that's okay. But my question, I guess, elephant in the room, my question is, how could we, let's just say that they like, I'm going to throw this out there arbitrarily, meatloaf, that's their favorite thing that they like. How frequently could we put meatloaf on that menu, whereas it's maybe in a 6-week rotation? I'm just trying to figure out how we can minimize the waste.
Try to put all the main items, the ones that we get the highest participation on. This is what determines what goes in those weeks. We actually look, because we can look up every day when we have this is how many kids participate. This is how many kids participate. And what I find is that we keep trying to add in those things that the kids are really eating, which was why I was mentioning that Cuban, because to me I was like blown away how people were saying they really liked it. Now I have my cooks that didn't like it and tell you they didn't like it. And if you look, remember I gave out the menu notes to you all? What I do on those menu notes is we say to the head cooks, you don't have to put that on there. You can serve that on the side. Every one of the menu notes will say that. Because some kids don't like it really. I'm a plain eater. I get that. But it's not perfect. And right now, because the state's coming in for a review, it's really kind of very, it's like they can look back at any time during the school year. And I'm not going to have, because kids love macaroni and cheese. There's nothing wrong with macaroni and cheese, but I can't have it 4 and 5 times a week or the calories are out the window. Everything goes out the window. And so we're trying to dance by getting a week to meet those calories, sodiums, everything's thing. Now, different counties do things differently, and not everybody follows the meal pattern. And for instance, when I came here, that offer versus serve, let kids pick what they want, I'm still trying to teach that here. No, you don't put everything on their tray and ask them, oh, do you want the one thing you think every kid's going to not like, right? You don't say, well, do you want these beans? That's not offer versus serve. Offer versus serve is as the kid goes through the line, we're making the food and putting it on their tray, saying, do you want this sloppy Joe? And that's been a hard battle for me to get over, you know, because people were really trained just to only ask kids. And the cooks will tell you that to a person. When we've been having numerous cooks meetings, and they'll say, well, you're right. Well, you're right. And I'm like, what'd you do when your roost came around? You know? And I'm just not going to be that way. I'm not going to say, we're going to pretend on the day they come. I'm not doing it. I'm not saying that anyone here did that, but that's what it ends up being if you're not careful.
How many schools, do we just have one salad bar?
Oh, and the cooks have already told me that salad bar is a lot of work. And it's not, Ms. Stewart, you'll know what we did in Upshur. When I first took over the job, we put in a fresh fruit and vegetable bar in every school, every elementary school. We have very low on personnel. And so what happens is the cook, somebody's got to man that, or you have to get a teacher or somebody to be looking at that. I mean, like right now, I think the best thing we ever did was to put that at the high school. But I'm looking at, we need another halftime cook because you got to have somebody just dedicated as fast as they're going through stuff up there, you know? And we've been trying to take, because now all the schools' numbers have changed greatly since we've moved the 5th grade. So now I'm looking at how this is going to settle out with where we need manpower. And that was one of the things I discussed. But it's not a full-blown salad bar at the elementary, and I've tried to explain that to the cooks. It's not that, but you would have, I would always say, have at least 2 fresh vegetables and a couple of fruits. You see what I mean? Just things. Then the kids already have their tray and they come out. But if they want to grab some carrots and a little bit of ranch, some kids just love that, and they don't want the other things. And you would be surprised how much more you can get out of that. Because my goal is to, how do you get them to eat healthy? That's my job, is to have what they're eating be healthy. And, but going on through here, they do look at production records. We're doing pretty good on some of this, what we've been reviewing with the cooks, the HACCP, and the food safety. We're working on our production records. When I first came, I made them mad. I was teasing them, and I said, no, I don't want you to go sit down after the fact and make up production records and type them. You know what I mean? I said, it's supposed to be a working document of what we're doing as we're cooking at school. We check the temperature at this time, and it might be scriggly wrote in there. So I'm trying my best to make that as authentic as we can be. And our cooks are working so hard. I gotta just tell you, these are some of the hardest working people in the county. You know, go try and lift those pans and do that for all those hours on end and getting it out of there. I'm very proud of the work that they do. We all know it, that's been in child nutrition a long time. it's not the funnest job in the world to say that, you know, because everybody eats, so they think I can just feed everybody anything, and I can't, in a good conscience. But I'm open to changing. I mean, that's why we brought that Cindy lady in. That's why we keep, like you all mentioned that, we made sure we highlighted to all the cooks. You don't put the mustard on there. Who told you to put it on there? When she demonstrated it, what did she say? You don't have to put, because we had a lady here demonstrating all the new things we've tried. The kids like chicken nuggets. I could serve chicken nuggets every day and it would be out the roof. Give them french fries and chicken nuggets every day and we would have kids eating all the time. That's a huge day. But it's hard. It's hard for a nutrition person to realize that kids don't know what a bone is in chicken. They'll come up to you and say, what is this? My cooks tell me this. You know? So it's hard. It's a dance, and just to let you know, it is a dance to try to make it all fit. And because I'm dealing with federal money, we take federal money, it's hard to explain. A lot of times teachers don't understand. A lot of times people just, I can't just give away things. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Because we use federal money to buy the food that's in the kitchen.
How much percentage of the federal money do you get to use on this? What's 100%?
Well, it just depends
50%?
Oh, no, it's not 100%. Let's just say, in the month of November, I'm just trying to give you an idea. The month of November, big month, or maybe it was October, long month, we might get $200,000 in reimbursement. You can't imagine that that's not going to cover all the amount of groceries and milk and employees and everything. That covers that. Some months it will be less than 200. In the summer when we were sending out lots of meal boxes, we were able to get a good reimbursement because I could guarantee the meal I'm mailing or sending to these people meet these requirements. Those counties that didn't do that, for instance, that were just making it up off a menu or getting it from a restaurant, or they're the ones that got in trouble. That's what I'm telling you. And so,
I think what she's saying is that the percentage changes, but $200,000 isn't gonna feed all 6 of our schools for a whole month by any means.
no. And so.
So that would leave you at $200,000, that would leave you how much to?
It all depends on the month. There's so many variables in there. That's the hard part, you know,
Yeah.
and it's a dance, and I wish I didn't have to be that one that is the follower of the rules, but
Well, we certainly appreciate that you're following the rules, and we hope that the inspection goes well.
me too.
And we should be able to hear a report about that
Yes.
after.
And we did
after
great
the
in our
fact.
inspection this summer. I do foresee, they'll find things. That's their job. And I'll tell you, after everything that's happened with neighboring counties, the feds came in really hard on the state people, the state child nutrition department. The feds came in very hard on that. And, I mean, there's no doubt there will be something. Do you know what I mean? There will be things. But I'm not too worried about that. Dr. Lewis, sorry, that was a real slip. Mindy has said to me, Cindy, every review, they find things, you know, but it's hard because you try so hard to teach why we're doing what we're doing. And hope it goes well.
Okay, thank you.
I promise I won't leave you alone. The only thing else that I think that could be truly beneficial, and you probably are doing, but maybe it could be ramped up a little bit more, is involving our cooks, perhaps in creating the menu, following those guidelines, mind you.
Oh, we do that every.
Following those guidelines, but I feel like that would be beneficial. And Mrs. McNish, whenever I was in high school, I was on the Nutritional Advisory Council, so I can recall we would have meetings and she would come to us, what did you all like, what you all didn't like? So I think student feedback, particularly those in high school, would be
Feedback we need.
tremendous.
I'm telling you, that I do know that might be a weak area, but I can tell you, we meet with the cooks. Like right now, they're all sending me their hot dog chili recipe, okay? And
be a judge.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, when we bring the cooks in, we ask those questions. And we really do, like right now, we're having a meeting on Wednesday, and we've got 2 or 3 things. What do you think? What are we supposed to do about this? We've changed the menu already, 2 or 3 things from the last months that we did.
That's great. I mean,
I
whatever,
mean,
whatever we can do to minimize waste and to provide kids food that they like. That's my whole objective, by following those guidelines.
Okay.
Thank you. You
Now,
got
is that,
that,
is that from your head cook that you meet with, or do you meet with all the cooks?
We meet with the head cooks, we pay them to stay after work. So the head cooks come in, and it's the head cooks that we train to say, this is what we're doing, how we're doing it. We sent out something the other day and said, tell me what you all thought of this. You know, and what's amazing, you got 6 schools. I've got one that'll be telling me, oh my gosh, my students just lap that up, right? Then I'll have somebody else say, ours wouldn't touch it. You know, so it's hard.
how do you, this is a question I really don't know. How do you control like the amounts? Let's say I'm in middle school or high school, and let's say we're having chicken nuggets. How many nuggets am I going to get, or how many slices of pizza am I going to get?
It's on that form that I gave you all out that showed you the menu notes. It tells you what kind of scoop and what kind of ladle you're supposed to use. The packaging will actually tell you that X number of French fries meets that requirement. I mean, it's down to like I was buying them scoops the other day because everybody was using the same kind of scoop for everything. Well, then no wonder sometimes their amounts are off if you're using the wrong kind of scoop, too big a scoop. You see what I'm saying?
Sure. I got you.
So when you see those half cup and those kinds of things, everything we do has to go match that. So we buy those scoops, we buy the spoodles is what they're called.
Okay.
And for 600 calories, you're not going to, I'm just telling you, it doesn't look like you've gone to, what was that buffet place that you used to go to? And it's hard.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have policies to review. Policy Chapter 4120.04, Service for Employment of Substitutes. Policy Chapter 8120 for Volunteers. Policy Chapter 3120.12, Substitutes in Areas of Critical Need and Shortage. And Policy Chapter 8510, Wellness. These have all been in our packets, pages 22 through 33. Is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion.
I'll second.
Madam has moved, Dave has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have consider and approve the following polling places for the 2024 primary election on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, and for the general 2024 general election on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Roanoke School number 3, Lewis County High School number 4 and number 7, Board of Education Office number 9, Robert Bland Middle School Vocational Building number 10, Peterson Central School number 14 and number 15, and Leading Creek Elementary School number 21 and 22. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Mike has moved, David seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have consider and approve memorandum of understanding between Lewis County Commission and Lewis County Board of Education to administer the Board of Education's regularly scheduled elections concurrently with the statewide primary or general elections as set forth in Chapter 3 of the West Virginia Code, or both as agreed as authorized by West Virginia Code 3-1-31 and 8-5-5. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Mike has moved, Adam has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have consider and approve full mind learning for 4 students with disabilities, SWD, educators to co-teach for inclusion classes at the middle school and the high school, January 11th, 2024 through May 30th, 2024, in the amount of $196,000. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Mike has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Next, Dr. Stewart will discuss the Clean School Bus Rebates Program.
Previously, this year, we were visited by Mr. Neslin from Green Power in the grant that they were putting forth to include us in looking at electric school buses. We've not heard anything from that. This bus rebate program is through Matheny. And so we've met with them, Mr. Paul and Ms. Richards and myself. We've sat and met with them. The school bus rebate program is similar, other than we get part of the money back. I'm gonna say the majority of the money back in a rebate for those buses. And so this is just asking your permission to be able to participate as part of that grant that they're writing and putting forth. This doesn't mean that we are obligated to anything. If they get the grant, we can decide that we want 1, or we want 0, or we want 6.
Okay. Is there a motion to consider and approve participation in the Clean School Bus Rebates Program, electric bus?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Adam has moved, Dave has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 3-1. The shuttle activity bus run report for December is in our packet on page 50. Everyone's had a chance to look at that. Then with our work session discussion of the upcoming school excess levy and our,
I provided in your packet a copy of the information that we worked on at our last board meeting. So if there are things that we need to adjust, change, correct, delete.
Looks good to me.
I think the last work session was very productive, and I'm pleased with what we proposed.
So then if there are no adjustments to that, then we will be bringing that back to the meeting on the 22nd for approval of a levy call.
all right. Then moving on, have superintendent's updates.
Just a couple of things to share with you. I told you that benchmarking would be starting this week, or has started this week in many of our schools. We also have our second data meeting set up with our principals for next week and the following. So once we finish those, I'll share that information with you as well as the directors and supervisors at this level have scheduled times to be in buildings for walkthroughs this month. So those will be happening as well. There was information sent to our principals at the end of last week, and then Mr. Tidd, I believe, sent out the information today to social media and our families. The 19th, we will be having staff in buildings, but we will not have students in buildings. We are working with the FBI as well as Dr. Snuffer, and we were providing active shooter training and stop the bleed training to our staff. So if you are available, you're welcome to stop by those trainings as well. We will have half of the staff at the middle school and the other half of the staff at the high school.
And what time does that start?
The first session will be 8 to 11, and the second session will be 12:30 to 3:30.
Anything else? No, ma'am. Board comments? Mike?
I would like to say that I understand that the Tri-County over there, they, I think I may brought this up last May, I don't remember if I did or not. The bus program over there that they've got, the truck driving simulator, it's up and going. So when there again, I don't know, they haven't told us when they're going to bring it around to the schools, but when they do, I think we ought to promote that pretty heavy because it is a state-of-the-art machine. It really is. So
Okay.
that's all I have.
All right. Adam?
I just want to say that I'm looking forward to having Johnny White on the board. He doesn't have a lazy bone in his body, and I think he's going to be a tremendous asset to our school system.
Okay. Dave?
A couple things. I'd like to send condolences to the family of Monica Weldon, who was our longtime treasurer, who passed away. And I think most of us worked with her in some capacity or the other over many years. Secondly, I would like to thank Kenny Lowther for his service as a board member. Unfortunately, West Virginia has some old rules and regulations involving people who work for the state of West Virginia and interfere with their ability to serve, and oftentimes in positions that really have nothing to do with the position they have with the government. For example, Department of Highways or Sharp Hospital or something like that. But I want to thank Kenny for his service, and I do say, working with him, I found that probably very few people in Lewis County have as big a heart as he had for the youth of Lewis County.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to echo our thanks to Mr. Lowther in his dedication to the junior wrestlers and all that time and effort that he has put in and will continue to put in as a volunteer. With that, our next meeting is in 2 weeks on January the 22nd. We'll start at 5 o'clock at Peterson Central Elementary School, meeting with the LSIC from 5 until 6, and the meeting will begin at 6. Yes, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make the motion.
Adam has moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
David second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries, and the time is 6:56.